As tensions continue to rise in the Middle East, a key conversation has taken place between India's Narendra Modi and the US President, Mr. Donald Trump. Welcome to TimesXP's War Report with me, Thriti Yatri. And this conversation, it highlights the growing global concern over the war. This was not just a routine diplomatic exchange, it was a discussion shaped by urgency, uncertainty, and rising geopolitical risk. Ladies and gentlemen, according to updates shared by the US envoy to India, the two leaders, they spoke directly about escalating the crisis and its wider impact. Here specifically on the global stability, energy security, and trade routes that connect the economies across the continents. And yes, at the center of this discussion was the Strait of Hormuz, basically a narrow but extremely important route through which nearly 1/5 of the global oil passes every single day. This choke point, it has now become one of the most sensitive flashpoints in the ongoing conflict. Both the leaders emphasized one clear message here: keeping this particular route open, well, it's absolutely important for the world. Any disruption in Hormuz would not just affect one region, it would really trigger a global chain reaction. Oil prices could surge overnight, shipping cost, it would rise sharply, and supply chain across Asia, Europe, beyond, it will face serious disruption. Well, the conversation also reflects how this conflict, it is expanding far beyond the battlefield. With rising tensions involving Iran, the US, and key regional players, the crisis is now being viewed through the lens of global economic stability and energy security. But everything aside, India's position in this situation is particularly important. As one of the world's largest energy importer, a significant portion of its oil and gas supplies passes through this passage, Strait of Hormuz. Any blockade or restriction, it would directly impact the fuel availability, our inflation, our economic growth back home. Well, at the very same time, the US is also working day and night to ensure that critical maritime routes, they remain open, and not just for itself but the global trade. Well, this includes coordination with partners, increasing monitoring of the shipping lanes, and ongoing diplomatic outreach just to prevent the escalation. Now, this call also signals that despite rising tension on the ground, including military movement, warning, counter warnings, diplomatic channels, they are still active. Leaders are attempting to balance pressure with dialogue, trying to avoid any situation where conflict spills over into a full-scale regional crisis. And wait, another key concern discussed is the safety of commercial vessels and crew members who are passing through this particular region. With increasing risk of drone activity, missile threats, naval presence, ensuring safe passage, it has become a major priority for all the nations that depend on these routes. So in the end, the bigger picture is clear. This is no longer just a regional crisis. It's a global issue where decisions that has taken place in one part, it can impact economies, it can impact markets and livelihoods across the continents. The question now is whether these high-level conversations, they can translate into real stability on the ground, or whether rising tension will continue pushing the whole situation towards uncertainty. Because when a single waterway like Hormuz connects the world's energy lifeline, keeping it open, it is not a regional concern anymore. It is becoming a global necessity.